What's up, YouTube? So we get a lot of questions about preservation of flowers. It's not something that we do, it's something that I wanted to try. So I get a lot of people calling saying, hey, I just got married, I've got my bridal bouquet. How am I gonna keep this forever? And typically I say, you're not, it's fresh flowers, they're gonna die. But maybe we're gonna try a couple different remedies, some home remedies. Again, this is something that I've never done. So this would be very similar to if you were to go purchase these items. You know, again, first run at it. How's this gonna go? I don't know, but let's find out. All right, so what I found was an epoxy resin. This is something that I bought on Temu, I believe. It was cheaper than Amazon. I think it took like 9 weeks to get here, but anyway, here nor there. So if you're gonna go Temu, buy that in advance, but it's a 2-part deal, 1-to-1 ratio. Then I also have a ceramic-based clear coat that I'm gonna use, and then we're just gonna use the good old clear coat or a polyurethane kind of thing in a spray can. And we're gonna see what that will do. I've got some daisies, I've got a rose, and I also have hydrangea. These are gonna be some pretty popular flowers that are gonna be in bouquets quite a bit. I chose these, again, roses are very popular. We're gonna see how those hold up. Hydrangea, I think that they are one of the tougher flowers. They're very thirsty. They're one of the first things to die. I think this one's gonna be almost impossible to keep looking nice. So that would be a true test. If we can get this one to stay really nice, it's gonna be a true test of how this works and holds up. Kind of the same with the daisies. I chose it as well. Kind of, this is a small bouquet. Just a quick little make to see how these would all hold clustered together. But they're a very small, a lot of little parts to the daisy. So little petals, little insides there. So the resin will have to stick really well to that to see if that's actually going to hold. So I thought that would be a really good test of kind of what we're doing here. So I guess let's do some painting and some dipping, and we'll see how this goes. All right, so we got our clear gloss here. Just gonna give it a good shaking. I've been shaking it for a few minutes off the camera. So I think it's ready. I'm just gonna go for sweeping motions. Some of the theory on paint coming out of can is if you're too close, it can actually freeze the flower. So I'm gonna try to give myself at least 6 or 8 inches away from off the can, and we'll just kind of coat this back and forth. I'm gonna go pretty thick, I would assume, to get down in all the nooks and crannies. We want it to be pretty thick on there. So here we go. Right in the cameraman, right in the line. Try not to get spray on the camera. Maybe we should change angles.
Probably should change.
Let's go
angles.
this way. All right, yeah. Here we go. Again, just back and forth sweeping motions. I don't really know if I should maybe do several coats. We're gonna do that. I'm gonna let that one rest. I'm gonna get the other flowers. All right, now I'm gonna go for the rose. Again, just back and forth sweeping motions. It does get pretty smelly, that's why we came outside. Again, getting down into the petals. I assume that's how that's gonna have to hold that up, is for this to really get deep down in there and hold it together without killing the flower. We shall see. All right, we're gonna give that a rest, and then I'll come back and do a few more coats on that.
Apparently I don't have the right part.
Same with the hydrangea, just gonna give it lots of passes on it. Spin the flower, keep it all moving. Try not to focus on one area too much too fast. And these actually might even be best to hang upside down when it was all said and done, but I think most of it I want to get the drips down into the flower. But this one I may actually hold better upside down. right, I'm gonna give that, I guess, some time, and maybe off camera we'll do a few more coats and come back and see how that looks. All right, so now we're gonna do the epoxy. We've got the two-part, the resin, the hardener. I've got my bouquet down in this vase, so my plan of action on here is I'm gonna try to mix it in this container, pour it over to this container, and then probably at some point, I guess, break this vase and try to see what's left with the resin. That's my plan. I don't know what else I would do, but that would be kind of something that, you know, could maybe be achieved at home. All right, let's get into it. So, do the epoxy first. Oh, she's thick. And really, you should probably figure out how to measure this. I'm just gonna eyeball it, so.
Those are some big globs.
Mm-hmm. The other problem with epoxy is getting all of the bubbles out. So that's one thing. I have done some epoxy on some silk arrangements before, and a lot of times you end up with all these bubbles in there which don't look great. So I'll try to do something to get rid of that.
Do you have things like vibrating out?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I got a little paint shaker back there. We can maybe try to vibrate them out. Of course, I don't know what you do at home, so put them on the washing machine or something. Alright, here we go. And I'm hoping when this is all said and done, I have enough for that vase, so we'll see. Alright. Wipe that off. And then I guess I'm going to get a stir stick and give this a go. Try to stir it without making a lot more new bubbles. We'll see. Looks like it's getting pretty hazy.
Do you have a vacuum chamber?
I do not have a vacuum chamber. I'm gonna keep vacuum chambers on me. So now it just looks like glue, so if you wanted to see your bouquet, sorry, not gonna be able to see it. Now hopefully it dries clear. We'll see. I also don't know how long it's gonna take to dry.
It says 40 minutes.
Fully dry is probably like 9 days.
I'll check in.
Alright, I'm gonna try to position my bouquet where it's gonna be not pressed up against the bottom of the container. That sure didn't work. A little thicker wire. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. Want it as low as possible in there without touching the bottom. That's about it. Alright, let's do our pour. See how that goes. Again, probably should have read some instructions on how much you mix it. Maybe the proper way to mix it, but Again, trying this at-home job. If I was just gonna do this, give it a go, here's what it might turn out like. All right, here we go. Definitely not enough epoxy. There's just a lot stuck to this container, so. Have to mix a little bit more.
I mean, like, you could, or you could, well, you probably want to mix it. Yeah.
Ooh, that's nasty. All right. It's looking like it's not going to be very good, but we're going to see. Let's try some more. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave it like that. We're going to see how that hardens. Obviously, if we were doing this at home, we'd go ahead and fill it all the way up, but I don't want to waste any more epoxy. We'll just kind of see how that goes. I'll dump the rest of what's in here into it.
How long are we waiting to see, like, if this works?
We'll wait probably till next Friday when you come back.
Yeah.
The other stuff we'll know sooner. Alright, well, that's nasty shit. Alright, so this is gonna be the ceramic-based clear coat. This is gonna go on with a spray gun, so I'm trying to save my camera. I'm not gonna bring it in here with me, but I'm gonna do some spraying on this and we'll come back later. Alright guys, so it's been a couple hours. I was gonna wait several days on this to see kind of how everything dried, see how everything was doing, but we're a few hours down the road and everything's pretty rough. So there are a couple things that I'm seeing that I like, several things that I don't. So let me just show you. The rattle can clear coat are over here. You can see that the rose is pretty much turned brown. That's the problem, a lot of this. I don't know if the can froze it or if just its reaction to the chemical in it, but it's hardening okay, but it looks terrible. You wouldn't be proud of how that looks. The daisies look better. There's definitely getting some brown on them. They do feel hard. Again, just kind of like a hairspray coating on them, so it's not great, and I'm guessing in a week it's not gonna look even any better at all. It's probably gonna look much worse. I am pretty impressed with the hydrangea. I hung it upside down just to kind of give it more life and give it kind of a fullness so it didn't droop. It feels pretty hard, looks pretty good as far as the petal structure, but the brown on it, it's got a lot of brown. It looks pretty bad. So again, I'm not sure that the clear coat out of a rattle can is gonna be a viable option. The clear coat out of the ceramic based clear coat, it didn't coat as heavy. It's still got some browning, kind of some yellowing on the tips. This guy, same situation, very floppy, turning black. And the bouquet, it looks a little better than the rattle can, but not much. You're getting a lot of brown petals. It's a little stiff, but not as hard as I would like it to be. And yeah, again, I think in a week it's gonna look pretty rough. So that's that. And then the resin. So yeah, this is the resin. Know how close I need to be, but it looks really bad. So turns out, and I didn't know, I've used JB Weld and that kind of thing in the past, but the epoxy gets really, really hot once you mix the two together. I have used some special floral epoxy that I don't think did this. So I think, you know, maybe it was the epoxy, maybe it was my choice, but I think that the box was like $120, so, or the gallons of it. So you don't really want to spend that money just for your flowers to look like this. So pretty rough. Once this all hardens, I mean, it's not gonna look any better. So that's pretty much trash. I'm probably gonna throw this away. And I would say overall that this was pretty much a fail. So at least you know what not to do at home. I am gonna leave these for a week and we'll see next week how they look, but pretty rough. All right, thanks guys. All right guys, what's up? It has been a week since we've done some of the preservation things, so I'm gonna kind of give you the follow-up and show you what that looks like. The resin, that looks pretty bad. So it definitely hardened. It did, I guess, what it's supposed to do, but it looks like complete crap. You definitely wouldn't want to show it off. It got really, really hot. It pretty much killed all the flowers. So that's awful. That's going in the trash can. That's terrible. So learn from my mistakes. Don't do that. And then next is going to be just the polyurethane, the clear, basically the clear coat on the paint. These are the daisies. These are the roses. They are pretty hard, but the roses, I mean, they still wilted, they browned, they look really bad. It definitely didn't lock in any of the flowers' color. There's a lot of moisture, I think, is basically the issue, so the flowers are drying out and dying, looking bad. As far as that hydrangea, this one was probably the most rigid. It's definitely super crunchy, but again, lots of browning. Looks really bad, had to hang it upside down. So that's almost, at this point, it'd probably look just the same, maybe be a little less hard as if I were to just hang it upside down and let it dry out. So really none of these are gonna be a good viable option. And then the spray on clear coat, same situation, maybe a little less browning, not quite as hard. It's still not gonna look good. You're not gonna display this in your home. Looks pretty bad. The daisies look even worse. The clear kind of turned white. Again, nothing good happening there. The rose was a little less brown, but still dead and crunchy. You're not gonna display that. So I would say that all in all, the preservation, these different methods were pretty much a fail. I did a little bit more work, investigation, trying to figure out what was actually gonna work, and I did find some better floral options. So in the next video, we're gonna try that and see how those work. So thanks for sticking with us, and catch you next time.